Welcome back. Thailand's military government has cancelled many of the initiatives that had been introduced by Thaksi Shinawatra. His education assistance packages, funded from lottery takings, were scrapped as a waste of money. Now, we spoke to one Bangkok mother to hear how that decision affected her family.
My name is Samang Patanasa, 53 years old, and I'm a general worker. My son was going to get a scholarship, but then the coup happened. The money that we would have received never arrived. Now I have a hard time because that scholarship money was supposed to pay for my son's education. My son studies at university, and this year I have to work hard by doing many hard jobs, such as teaching children after school, or making jewelry, or selling cosmetics and desserts to pay for my son's fees. I have many bills to pay, and I've had to borrow money from other people. I have to work hard, more than usual. Before, the economy used to be better. I could sell a lot. Everything was looking good for me. After the coup, no one has any money. I want Thaksin to come back because I think the economy will improve and I can sell more goods. The products I make would be sold. The situation right now doesn't look good. Nobody wants to buy anything. And education is very important. Prime Minister Thaksin supported education. It was always a priority, and I want to see him come back.
In Bangkok, I'm joined by Abhisit Wechachiwa, leader of the Democrat Party. Also in Bangkok, Panajan Wirat from The Nation newspaper. And here in the studio, Thaksi Shinawatra's former spokesman, Jakrapop Penkar. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for staying with us. Before we went to the break, Kun Jakrapop described Thaksi Shinawatra as being in the minds of the people, and there is, to a large extent, his shadow hanging over this entire process. Kun Abhisit, what is your perspective on how much influence Thaksin is having, and how important is that?
Well, he's actively involved in the elections. Obviously, with his support being distributed through VCDs or whatever, it's clear that he's supporting a particular party, the PPP. But that's fine. It's for the people to decide about how the country should move ahead. What's not quite right, though, is the distortion of the facts. For instance, the PPP says that only if they win the elections could he return to Thailand. That's not true. If the Democrat Party were elected tomorrow, if I were Prime Minister tomorrow, I would ask for his return. He needs to come back and fight charges in the courts. We'll treat him in the way we treat any other Thai citizen, and he should be given a fair trial.
Would you ban him from politics, or would you let him get...
It's not the issue that matters.
Would you let him get involved in the political process again?
At the moment, the ban is on for the 111 former executive committee members. The Parliament has the right to consider the amnesty, so that's an issue for Parliament to consider.
Well, let's be straightforward here. It is not a contest, really, between Democrats or the PPP or the party's candidates. It's the PPP or the former Thai Party and the military regime. And the parties that tag along with the military establishment.
The military
well,
is
I mean,
not
they are not present in the election, of course not. I mean, they're smarter than that. But the problem is they have brokers. They have people who would work, the political works for them. And then we have to fight these people.
There is talk that should the PPP win a majority in this election, that they will run for a year, 2 years, and then with Thaksin back in the country and with the court cases out the way, they will stand down and allow Thaksin to re-engage and once again run in the political process. Is that part of the planning as far as you're aware?
Well, there's no planning of any kind. The point is that
there's no planning of any kind in the PPP.
The former Thai Party would try to press on with the work in politics. The plan is to win the election and to carry on the good works of the TRT for the people.
It's clear that there is plenty of planning going on and plenty of behind-the-scenes politicking. What's your view on all of this?
The assessment that the next government will not last very long is quite accurate, because in previous time, coalition government don't last more than a year or two. So that's a fairly common sense assessment. Secondly, the charges against the former Prime Minister Thaksin is quite serious. involving either finance ministry or telecommunication issues related to the land issues and so on.
Are you saying then that even if the PPP
I
wins, that his return will still be problematic?
Yes, legally speaking, yes.
At the moment, there's a court ruling that bans him from politics. Parliament can decide whether he should be granted an amnesty, but that amnesty cannot cover the corruption charges. That's a separate issue. The fact that he's banned from politics stems from the crime he committed concerning election fraud. Now, if that is granted amnesty, it does not in any way grant a blanket amnesty over the corruption charges.
Okay.
He still needs to fight those charges in court.
The ban of coup Thaksin is engaged with the dissolution of the TRT party, and the TRT party was dissolved by a constitutional tribunal appointed by the military. We have to remember that.
It wasn't appointed by the military. It was an election of the High Court judges. And nobody is suggesting that the High Court judges or the Supreme Court judges are in any way partial. So we need to get the facts straight. But the point is,
if you want to get the facts straight, the
issue
Supreme
that
Court,
faces the country
Chief Justice of Thailand, who is a member of the Constitution Tribunal, voted against dissolving the TRT. He was one of the minority of the votes.
The minutiae of this issue
yes,
is
but the
clearly,
others,
once
yeah,
again,
but he was in the minority.
let me interrupt you for a second.
We passed that stage. Yes, I think.
We
please,
pass the stage, Kun Pana, because that is linking to what we are doing today. The election is not a fair trial, but we would do the best to press on with the policy agendas to be proposed to the people. But the shadow,
back into politics.
No, it's not to be dragged into.
Can we bring another element into this? Because we're sitting here arguing about the military, but clearly the one topic that we haven't touched on, and it's a sensitive topic, I understand, but it needs to be addressed, is the role of the monarchy in this, because the role of the monarchy seemed to be fairly high in the initial problems with the Thaksin government and the subsequent coup.
The king is above partisan politics. So let's get back to the real issues. The point is, at the moment, the PPP is attempting to ride on the fact that the army and the interim government is not popular, to try to turn that in their favor.
All right.
But the real issue is this is a competition between the Democrats and the PPP. So let's talk about that.
No, it's not.
Just, Kun Pana, let me ask you, how will your paper be characterizing this argument, as it will clearly be a major argument throughout the entire process of the election?
I think in general, the public want to move away from past conflict towards some kind of resolution, reconciliation.
But clearly the parties want to engage in this continued conversation, this continued debate about the validity of the election.
It will backfire. It could backfire.
Kunabise, on a different subject, can you seriously argue that in a country that has had some 18 political coups over the course of its recent history, that the military can simply be ignored now, just 1 year after they took over the country?
What I can safely say is that a Democrat-led coalition will uphold the principles of democracy, will not force politics onto the streets, will not drag the military back into politics.
Well, how could we possibly and blindly disregard the military role in this coming election? Thailand is now a country where half of the country, half the provinces are under martial laws. And the military has its own organization in which to be passed into a permanent law right now. So it is safe to say that we have to fight dictatorship first.
We have had,
and the political parties later on.
We have had this conversation earlier on, and there we are going to have to leave it. Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
That is all we have time for on this edition of 101 East. Until next time, goodbye.